The rain did not fall. It slapped the muddy ground. It slapped faces. People were running, holding nylon bags over their heads, jumping over puddles, shouting. Buses were splashing dirty water. Traders were dragging their buckets under shade. Everything was chaos. But in the middle of that street, somebody was on the ground, face in the mud, crying, and nobody stopped. Monica saw her first. At first, Monica thought it was just one of those Lagos things people pretend not to see. Two men fighting, police chasing someone, a drunk man sleeping in gutter. Normal. But when she looked again, she froze. It was an old woman with grey hair, soaked like somebody poured a bucket on her head. Her wrapper was dirty and sticking to her skin. Her lace blouse was stained brown, and her legs were not straight. One leg was twisted in a way that did not look normal. The other leg looked thin and weak, like it had not carried weight in years. She could not stand. She was on the ground, beside a pothole full of brown rainwater, shaking, crying in a voice that was already breaking. Please, somebody help me. Please. People walked past her. They walked past her like she was nothing. A woman selling bread lifted her basket and hissed, "I beg, no touch me with that water." Two boys laughed. One of them even pointed and said, "Mama, stand up, nah. Rain is not fire." Nobody touched her. Cars drove around her. Nobody even asked for her name. Monica could feel her chest get tight. Her clothes were already soaked from work. She was still wearing her sight vest, the orange one with mud all over it. Her hands had small cuts. Her back was already hurting from lifting cement blocks since morning. She was tired. She had every reason to keep walking. But she did not, because she heard it. Not the crying, not the pleas. No, she heard the fear underneath. It was the way the old woman's hand kept reaching out, shaking, like her body was telling the road, "Do not leave me here. I am still alive." Monica dropped the nylon bag in her hand. It had bread, Gary, small tin milk, the food she planned to eat tonight and tomorrow so she could save money. Money she was collecting little by little because she still believed, even if nobody else did, that one day she would be a medical doctor. Her parents always said, "Dr. Monica, our doctor." That was before they died, before that night, before the fire, before everything broke. She did not like thinking about that night. She knelt in the mud. "Mama?" Monica said, trying to make her voice calm. "Mama, can you hear me?" The old woman turned her head slowly. Her face was wet, not just from rain, but from tears. Her eyelashes were stuck together, mud was on her cheek. But her eyes were still sharp. They were not the eyes of somebody who had given up. They were the eyes of somebody fighting to stay here. "Please," the old woman whispered. "Please don't leave me. I don't know where I am." Monica swallowed. "What is your name?" she asked softly. The woman tried to answer, but her voice shook. My name is," she coughed. "Veronica. My name is Veronica. Please, my body is cold." "Veronica." Monica nodded fast. Okay, Mama Veronica. I will help you." The old woman let out a weak laugh that sounded like pain. "They said that. Someone said that. They pushed me. Then they took my chair. I can't feel my left leg. My phone. I don't know." Monica didn't understand all of it yet. All she knew was this. This woman could die here. Right here. In this rain. In this mud. Like an animal. No. Not while Monica was breathing. Monica took a deep breath, wiped rain from her face with the back of her hand, and looked at the road. She looked at the moving buses. She looked at the people still rushing, not even looking back. Then she did something that made two men stop and stare. She bent down low. Lower. She put both arms under the older woman's body. "Mama, hold me," she said. "Please, put your hands around my neck. I'm going to carry you." The rain was getting heavier now. Her vest was sticking to her skin. Mud climbed up her legs, past her knees. Veronica blinked. "You can't carry me. You're just a girl." Monica smiled, a tired, shaking smile. "You'll be surprised." When she lifted, her whole body screamed. Pain shot through her shoulder. Her back burned like fire. Her knees almost buckled in that muddy water. But she did not fall. She gritted her teeth, pulled, and stood up with the old woman on her back. Her heart pounded so loud she could hear it in her ears. The old woman's weak arms held onto her, fingers digging into Monica's shoulders, her cheek pressed against the back of Monica's neck. People actually stopped now. Someone shouted, small girl like that. You go break your waist, oh. A man in a yellow tricycle said, leave her there now. That woman is not your problem. Monica didn't answer them, because if she answered, she would break. And if she broke, she would drop this woman. And if she dropped her, she did not know if the woman would ever get up again. Her slippers slid in the brown water as she pushed one leg forward, then the other. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Her body was shaking. Her breath was hot and fast. Her mind was saying, stop, stop, stop. But her heart was saying, keep going. She walked through the rain, holding Mama Veronica on her back, past the shops with iron doors, past the boy playing loud music from his speaker, past the woman frying puff-puff under the umbrella. People stared. Nobody helped. By the time she reached the open gutter near her compound, Monica was dizzy. Her vision was starting to blur. Her legs felt like wood. Her arms were numb. But her voice was still steady when she said, almost there, Mama. Almost there. Just a little more. The compound gate was half broken. The inside was a small yard with clothes hanging on ropes, water drums, and cracked yellow paint on the walls. A neighbor sitting outside looked up and gasped, Monica, Jesus, who is that on your back? Help me open my door, Monica panted. Her room was the last one by the corner, near the plastic buckets. One small wooden door, one tiny window with rust on the frame. No tiles, just cement floor. Inside that room, one thin mattress on the floor, one kerosene stove, one plastic chair with a crack, one small table with a Bible and a cup. That was all. Home. Monica pushed the door open with her foot. Her whole body felt like it was tearing in half. Then, very slowly, very carefully, she knelt down and let Mama Veronica slide from her back onto the mattress. The old woman groaned in pain, but her face relaxed, like her body finally believed it was safe. Monica's shirt was stuck to her skin. Her arms were shaking so bad she could barely lift them. Her whole body hurt, but her voice was gentle. Mama, she said softly, you're safe now. You hear me? Veronica's eyes were glassy. Tears and rain mixed on her face. Her lips were still shaking. Thank you, she whispered, barely making sound. Thank you, my child. They pushed me. They took my chair. I begged them. I told them I can't walk. They laughed. They left me there. I called my son, but I don't know where I am. I can't find him. Her voice broke. Then she started crying. Not loud crying. Quiet crying. The kind of crying that sounds like someone's heart is tired. Monica swallowed hard. She felt anger in her throat. Hot anger. The kind of anger that says, how can people do this? The kind of anger that makes your hands shake. But instead of shouting, she moved. Fast. She wiped Mama Veronica's face with a clean towel. She pulled off the soaked wrapper and covered her with Monica's only blanket, the one Monica used at night when the fan in the next room stopped working and the mosquitoes got bad. Then she did something else. She lit the stove. The room became warm and soft. She boiled water and poured some into a small bowl. She found the old white cloth she used to tie her own arm when she got hurt at the site. She dipped the cloth in the warm water, squeezed it, and pressed it gently on the woman's legs. Veronica let out a slow breath. Oh, that feels good. Monica smiled. Good girl, she whispered, like she was talking to a child. Stay awake for me, okay? She made hot tea with milk and a little sugar. Mama, drink small, just small. Veronica's hand was shaking so much she almost dropped the cup, so Monica held it for her and let her sip. When Veronica swallowed, her eyes closed for a moment. The relief on her face made Monica's throat hurt. Monica sat on the floor in front of her, knees folded, wet hair sticking to her face, shirt still dripping. Mama, she said quietly, how did you end up outside in the rain? Where is your house? Veronica took a slow breath. My name is Veronica, she said in a weak voice. People call me Madam Veronica. My son, he brought me to Lagos. He bought me a wheelchair. He said, Mama, anywhere you want to go, just tell Musa. Musa will push you. Her eyes went shiny. Musa was not there today, she whispered. A different boy came. He said he will help. He pushed me out. He pushed me far. He was smiling. Then he stopped in that street and said he wants to buy recharge card. He let go of my chair. I was still talking. And then, her voice shook. Her face twisted. They ran away with my chair. Monica's eyes widened. They stole her wheelchair? They stole a wheelchair? Who does that? Who steals a wheelchair? And then, Veronica whispered. The rain started. Monica covered her mouth. She felt sick. Veronica looked at her, weak and scared. My son will be worried. I don't know where I am. I don't know this area. I don't even know. I just remember falling, and people passing, and my body was cold, and I kept thinking, so this is how I will die. In the road, like a dog. Her lips trembled. But you came. Monica looked down. Her eyes were hot now, not from anger, from something else, something softer, something that hurt in a different way, because she heard that before, that last line. So this is how I will die. She heard it on the night her parents didn't make it. For a moment, Monica couldn't speak. Her throat felt tight. Her eyes were filling. She blinked fast and wiped her face with the back of her wrist. I'm here, she said finally, her voice quiet but steady. You're not dying here, not in my room. You're safe. Veronica nodded slowly. Then she said, in a small, almost shy voice, What is your name, my child? Monica almost smiled. My name is Monica. Veronica breathed out like she wanted to remember it. Monica, she whispered. Monica saved me. Monica stood. Her body hurt, but her mind was already in another place. She went to the corner, opened the small plastic bowl where she kept her money. It wasn't much. Some crumpled notes. Money for tomorrow's food. Money she was saving for school forms. Money she couldn't really touch. But she touched it. Because this was not about money now. This was about keeping someone alive. She counted it fast. It was not even enough for real hospital treatment. But maybe she could at least get pain medicine. Maybe she could get antibiotics. Maybe she could get something for swelling. She grabbed her scarf and tied it over her wet hair. I'll be back, she said. Veronica panicked. No, please don't leave me. Please, what if? Monica knelt again and took her hand. Her voice was soft but firm. Nobody is going to touch you here. This is my room. You're safe here. I will lock the door. I am coming back. Veronica swallowed. Her eyes were scared like a child's. She nodded slowly. Monica stood up. Her legs were still shaking. Her body still ached like she had been hit with wood. She grabbed the little pink umbrella with two broken arms, the one her mother used to carry to the market when she was alive. She turned to the door, then stopped. Something had changed. The air felt different. She didn't know why. Her skin felt cold. Her heart started beating fast again. Why? Why did it feel like something big was already moving toward them? Something she could not see yet. Something that was about to change everything. Monica didn't know this. 2 streets away, 3 black SUVs had just stopped. Men in suits were stepping out. Someone was shouting on the phone. Check again. Her phone is pinging from here. She is close. A tall man in a dark suit with sharp eyes and a face that made people move out of his way without him talking, slammed his car door and said in a low voice that was almost shaking, Find my mother. Now, Monica did not know that yet. She only knew this. She was not going to let Mama Veronica die. Not here. Not like that. She opened the door, stepped into the rain again, and ran. By the next morning, the rain had stopped, but the world outside Monica's window was still wet and grey. The compound smelled of wet sand, diesel smoke, and soap water from people washing clothes. Inside her tiny room, Monica sat by the stove, holding her chin with one hand as she watched the pot boil. She had gone to the chemist early that morning and bought some painkillers and antibiotics with the only money she had left. Now her room was quiet. Mama Veronica was sleeping. Her breathing was steady, though weak, and her head rested on the folded wrapper Monica placed under it like a pillow. The blanket was pulled up to her shoulders, and her grey hair was now dry, combed softly with Monica's small plastic comb. For the first time since yesterday, Monica felt peace. She whispered softly, Thank you, God, as she poured the hot tea into a small cup. She was tired, but there was something warm inside her, something she hadn't felt in a long time. Maybe it was purpose. Maybe it was hope. When Veronica woke up, she blinked at the sunlight coming through the curtain. Her voice was faint. Where am I? Monica smiled and came close. You're in my house, Mama. You slept well. Veronica tried to sit up, wincing a little from the pain in her leg. My child, you didn't go to work. Monica looked away, pretending to rearrange the table. No, I didn't go today. But you said you work every day? Veronica pressed softly. Monica nodded. Yes, at the construction site. But I couldn't leave you here alone, Mama. You were still weak. Tears welled in Veronica's eyes. She reached out a shaking hand and touched Monica's arm. Bless you, my daughter. Bless you. You could have left me there. Even the people I used to feed walked past me. But you carried me. Monica smiled faintly, though her eyes glistened too. Anyone would have done the same, Mama. Veronica shook her head slowly. No, nobody did. The silence between them was gentle. It wasn't awkward. It was the kind that made the air heavy with gratitude. Monica fed her tea and medicine, then helped her stretch her legs slowly, massaging them with warm water and towel. Veronica winced but thanked her after each press. Afterward, Monica stepped outside to wash her plate. The air was still damp. Children ran barefoot through puddles. A man nearby repaired his generator, and the sound of gospel music floated from a neighbor's window. Everything seemed almost normal again. Almost. By evening, Monica's back hurt from sitting too long beside Veronica's mattress. She leaned against the wall and dozed off for a while. When she woke up, the sky was already turning dark purple, and the street outside her window glowed with dim yellow bulbs. She rubbed her eyes and looked around. Veronica was sleeping again. But there was something different. A sound. At first, it was faint, the deep rumble of an engine. Then, more engines. She frowned. Nobody in her area owned a car, much less 3 cars. Then she heard it a knock. A firm, heavy knock on her door. She blinked, thinking maybe it was a mistake. Nobody ever knocked on her door. The knock came again, louder this time. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? She asked carefully. No answer. Her heart started to beat fast. She stood slowly, wiped her hands on her skirt, and went to the door. Outside, through the small window, she could see shadows, tall figures, men in black suits. And behind them, something even stranger, 3 black SUVs, their engines still running, lights flashing on the wet ground. Her throat went dry. The door creaked as she opened it slightly. And there he was. A tall man, maybe in his 40s, standing straight in a clean dark blue suit that looked expensive enough to pay her rent for 5 years. His expression was tense, eyes sharp, like someone who hadn't slept all night. Behind him stood 2 more men, one with an earpiece, another holding an iPad, both clearly bodyguards or assistants. The man in the middle looked at her, and his voice came out low but firm. Are you the one living here? Monica's voice trembled a little. Yes, sir. He took one step forward, scanning the small room behind her. His gaze stopped when he saw the old woman lying on the mattress. His whole body froze. Mother? He whispered. Monica turned around, startled. Mama? Veronica's eyes fluttered open. She blinked at the doorway. At first, she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Then her lips started to tremble. Benson? The man dropped his briefcase and rushed inside. He knelt beside her on the floor. Mama! Oh my God, Mama! Monica stood still, confused. She didn't know what to say. Benson's voice broke. Where have you been? I searched every hospital, every police station, every corner. They told me you were gone. Veronica's eyes filled with tears. I called you, my son. I called. They took my chair. I tried to crawl. Benson turned sharply toward Monica, his eyes red. How did she get here? Monica stepped back nervously. Sir, I saw her in the rain yesterday. She was on the road in the mud. Nobody helped her. So I carried her home. Benson's mouth opened slightly. You carried her? In the rain? Monica nodded slowly. He looked around her small, cracked room. The bucket, the single chair, the thin mattress, the stove. His throat moved, but no words came out. Finally, he whispered, You saved my mother. Monica didn't know what to say, so she just lowered her eyes. He stood, still trembling. Assistant, he called. Get the car ready. Call the doctor and send someone to clean this place properly before we leave. The assistant nodded quickly and rushed outside. Veronica tried to protest. No, Benson, don't disturb her. She's a good girl. Benson knelt again and took his mother's hand gently. Mama, please, you almost died. You need care. He turned to Monica. His voice softened. What's your name? Monica, she said. Monica, he repeated slowly, as if testing the name in his mouth. You are coming with us. Monica blinked. Sir? He stood straight again, buttoning his suit. You can't stay here. You'll come with us to the mansion. My mother owes you her life, and if you saved her, then I owe you everything. Monica shook her head quickly. No, sir, please. I can't, this is my house, I can't just… He cut her off gently. Monica, you carried my mother in the rain when even strangers walked away. You think I'll let you sleep in this broken room after that? She opened her mouth, then closed it. Her heart was pounding. Was this real? The assistants entered the room with a stretcher. They carefully lifted Veronica onto it, covering her with a blanket. Veronica reached for Monica's hand. Monica, she whispered weakly. You're coming with me, my child. Please, don't argue. Monica nodded slowly, tears filling her eyes. Outside, the neighborhood gathered, whispering and pointing as the SUVs waited. Children stared, mouths open. Someone muttered, "See convoy." Who die? Another said, That's Monica, our sight girl. See as her luck shine. Monica felt dizzy as she climbed into the last SUV beside Veronica. The leather seats were soft, the air smelled of perfume and money. She looked out the tinted window as the compound faded behind her. She thought of her small mattress, her cup, her stove, the only things she owned. And now, she was leaving them behind. She didn't know what waited ahead. She didn't know who Benson Andrew really was. She didn't know that this journey would change everything, not just for her, but for the entire Andrew family. Because inside the SUV, as Benson stared quietly out the window, his assistant whispered something into his ear. Sir, there's something you should know. The boy who pushed Madam's wheelchair, he's been found. Benson turned sharply. Where? The assistant hesitated. Dead, sir. At the riverbank. Benson's jaw tightened. His eyes darkened. Find out who sent him, he said coldly. Monica heard only part of it, but it was enough to make her shiver. Something wasn't right. Something bigger was happening, something beyond her kindness, and she was now part of it. The convoy moved, splashing water as it disappeared into the night. The rain had stopped completely by the time the convoy of black SUVs turned into the long, gated driveway of the Andrew Mansion in Banana Island. The compound lights glowed like daylight, bright, golden, and quiet. The gates opened slowly, revealing marble walls, tall palm trees, and a fountain that glittered under the night lamps. Monica's breath caught in her throat. She had never seen anything like this before. She pressed her palm lightly against the window glass. The cars that passed her in traffic every day, the ones that made her feel invisible, were now parked neatly in front of her. A Rolls-Royce, a Bentley, 2 Range Rovers. She could almost hear her heart whisper, "How did I get here?" When the door opened, she stepped out carefully, still barefoot from rushing out of her compound. The cold marble under her feet felt strange. The scent of roses filled the air, real roses, not the plastic ones people hung in their churches. A woman in a black suit came forward immediately, bowing slightly. "Welcome, sir." Benson gave a small nod. "Call the doctor. Prepare the guest wing. Make sure she gets everything she needs tonight." The woman turned to Monica, her expression polite but puzzled. "And the young lady, sir?" Benson looked at Monica. "She stays close to my mother. Anything she asks for, give her." The woman nodded again and hurried inside. Monica followed as they wheeled Madame Veronica up the white marble steps. She could hear the soft hum of expensive air conditioners, the faint ticking of a gold wall clock, and the smell of clean polish. When they entered the mansion, Monica stopped walking. Everything glowed. The chandelier sparkled like the sun had decided to live there. The floors were glassy white marble, the curtains thick and gold. Paintings hung on every wall, real art, not prints. She looked down at her wet brown gown, stained with mud and sweat, and suddenly felt like a shadow in someone else's world. The doctor arrived minutes later, a tall woman in a neat blue suit, carrying a small medical bag. She knelt beside Madame Veronica's wheelchair and examined her gently. "She's lucky," the doctor said. "No major fracture, just exhaustion and mild infection. She'll recover fast." Benson exhaled deeply. The first time he looked calm since the night began. "Thank you," he said. "Make sure she gets the best care, and don't tell the media anything yet." Monica stood quietly near the door, hands folded. Madame Veronica turned her head weakly toward her. "Monica, come closer." Monica obeyed, stepping forward shyly. The old woman took her hand. "My child, you saved me. I owe you my life." Benson looked at her, then at Monica. "She means that." Monica tried to smile, but her eyes were watering again. "You don't owe me anything, Ma. I only did what anyone should have done." Benson's voice was low but firm. "No, you did what nobody did. That's why you deserve everything coming next." She didn't know what he meant, but she nodded, her heart fluttering nervously. Later that night, when the house had gone quiet, Monica sat alone in the guest room, a space bigger than her entire compound. The bed looked untouched, the white sheets smooth as snow. There was a large mirror, a soft carpet, and a bathroom that smelled of lemon. She walked to the window and looked out. The city lights of Lagos blinked faintly in the distance, far away now like another world. She thought of her parents, her mother's laugh, her father's rough hands holding hers. She thought of their small house and the fire that took them both one night. And then she thought of this place, this palace, of Madame Veronica sleeping peacefully in the next room, of Benson, the billionaire's son, whose face had softened when he saw his mother. She sighed. "God, if this is a dream, please don't wake me yet," she whispered. The next morning came with sunlight and the smell of fried eggs. Monica blinked awake to the sound of birds outside her window. A young maid entered quietly and smiled. "Good morning, Ma. Madame Veronica is asking for you." Monica dressed quickly, brushing her wet hair with her fingers. When she entered the large sitting room, she froze again. Madame Veronica sat upright in a modern wheelchair, wearing a clean blue lace and scarf. Her face was brighter, her skin glowing after a warm bath. Beside her sat Benson, reading the newspaper. He looked up when he saw Monica. Good morning, sir," she said softly. "Come," he said, gesturing to a chair. "Sit." She obeyed slowly. Veronica smiled warmly. "Monica, this is my son, Benson Andrew. He owns this company, and half of Lagos, I think." She chuckled softly. Benson gave a faint smile. "Mama exaggerates." He folded the paper and leaned forward. "Tell me, Monica, what do you do?" Monica hesitated. I work at a construction site. I mix cement, carry blocks. I'm saving money to go back to school, sir." "What school?" Benson asked. "University of Lagos," she said quietly. "I want to study medicine." Benson blinked, his eyes narrowing slightly. "Medicine?" She nodded. "It was my parents' dream before they died. I still want to do it, but it's hard." Veronica reached for her hand again. "You have a good heart, my child. You carried me when I had no strength. You will carry many more people one day. God will use those hands to heal others." Monica's throat tightened. "Amen, Ma." Benson stood and walked toward the window, his back to them. "You said you work at a construction site." "Yes, sir." "Do they pay you well?" Monica smiled faintly. "Enough to eat, sometimes, but not enough to dream." Benson turned back. There was something in his eyes now, the look of a man who had just made a decision. He reached into his suit pocket, pulled out an envelope, and handed it to her. "Take this," he said simply. She frowned and took it with shaking hands. "What is this, sir?" "Open it." Inside was a printed letter on thick white paper. At the top was the logo of the University of Lagos. Her eyes moved fast over the words, "is greater than." "We are pleased to inform you that you have been granted a full scholarship to study medicine and surgery." Monica gasped. "What, how, sir? I don't understand." Benson smiled faintly. "You said you wanted to become a doctor. Now you will. Consider it a small thank you for saving my mother's life." Monica stared at him, speechless. Her hands trembled as she read the letter again. Her lips parted. Tears filled her eyes. "Sir, I don't know how to thank you," she whispered. "You already did," he said softly. "You thanked me when you didn't walk past my mother." Madame Veronica was crying quietly now, covering her face with a small handkerchief. "God bless you, my son," she said through her tears. "And bless this girl who has reminded me that kindness still lives in the world." Monica dropped to her knees, tears falling freely. "Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ma. I won't waste this chance. I promise." Benson smiled again, gently lifting her up. "You don't owe us anything, Monica. Just make the world better, that's all I ask." But just as everything felt perfect, the door opened suddenly. A man in black uniform entered, bowing slightly. "Sir, sorry to interrupt. We just found something strange." Benson's eyes sharpened. "What is it?" The man handed him a plastic bag with a cracked phone inside. It was recovered from the boy who stole Madam's wheelchair. Benson frowned. "And?" The man hesitated. "The last message on this phone. It was sent to a contact saved as boss." Benson's jaw tightened. "Read it." The man unfolded a small printed note. It says, "It's done. She's not breathing." Madame Veronica gasped. Monica's hand flew to her mouth. Benson's voice was quiet but heavy. "So, someone wanted my mother dead." The room went silent. Veronica's lips trembled. "Benson, who would do that?" Benson looked down, eyes burning with anger. "I don't know yet, Mama, but I'll find out." He turned sharply to the guard. "Tell security to lock all exits. Nobody leaves this house until I know who is behind this." Indema. Monica stood frozen, heart pounding. This was no longer just a story of kindness. It was turning into something darker, something dangerous, and she was standing right in the middle of it. That night, the Andrew mansion didn't feel like the same peaceful palace Monica had entered. The air was tense. Guards moved quietly along the hallways. Benson's voice could be heard from his study, low but sharp, as he spoke into the phone. Monica sat beside Madame Veronica's bed, gently rubbing her hands with warm oil. The older woman looked worried, her usually calm face now clouded with fear. "Mama," Monica whispered, "you need to rest. The doctor said your blood pressure is rising." Veronica sighed. "How can I rest, my child? Someone wanted me dead. Me. In this same Lagos I gave everything to." She shook her head slowly. "Money can buy medicine, but not peace." Monica stayed silent. She could hear Benson pacing in the next room. Every few minutes, he raised his voice angry, frustrated. "Find the driver. Check the CCTV from 2 nights ago. No one betrays me and walks free." When he finally entered, his face looked tired but fierce. He stopped when he saw Monica and his mother holding hands. "Monica," he said quietly, "you've done enough for tonight. Please go and rest." Monica stood but hesitated. "Sir, are you sure it's safe here?" He forced a small smile. "I have men on every corner of this house. Nobody will touch my mother again." Veronica looked up at her son, her voice soft but heavy. "Benson, whoever did this, don't lose yourself chasing them." Benson's jaw clenched. "They tried to kill you, Mama. I won't rest until I know who's behind it." He turned to leave, but before he reached the door, one of the guards rushed in. "Sir, we've found something." Benson stopped. "What is it?" The guard held out a photograph slightly wet, folded and dirty. "We found it inside the boy's wallet, sir. It's a picture of Madame Veronica and another woman." Benson took it slowly. His face froze. The second woman in the photo was smiling beside Madame Veronica, a woman in her late 30s wearing a gold necklace Monica had seen earlier that morning on one of the mansion's maids. Benson's voice dropped. "That's Clara, my mother's caretaker." Monica's eyes widened. "The woman that brought her food earlier?" Benson nodded, his face hardening. "Where is she?" The guard lowered his eyes. "Gone, sir. We can't find her anywhere." For a moment, silence filled the room, only the ticking clock could be heard. Then Benson looked at Monica. "This isn't over. Whoever planned this thought they could hide under my roof." Madame Veronica closed her eyes, whispering, "God, protect us." Monica glanced at the window. The night outside was quiet, too quiet, and somewhere beyond the mansion's gate, under the shadows of the palm trees, a woman in a gold necklace watched from a black car, smiling faintly as she whispered into her phone, "He doesn't know yet, but soon, he will." Morning came slowly over the mansion, golden sunlight spilling across the marble floors, washing away the darkness of the night before. But inside, the tension still lingered like smoke after a fire. Monica hadn't slept. She sat on the couch near Madame Veronica's room, holding her scholarship letter like a prayer. Everything felt like a dream. The rescue, the mansion, the danger. She kept asking herself, why me? Why was I the one who found her that night? The door creaked open. Benson stepped out, dressed in a simple white shirt instead of his usual suit. His eyes looked tired, but softer. "She's awake," he said quietly. "She wants to see you." Monica followed him inside. Madame Veronica sat near the window, sunlight touching her face. Her wheelchair gleamed. She looked stronger, her voice steady again. "Monica," she said with a gentle smile. "Come here, my child." Monica walked closer, kneeling beside her. "Good morning, Mama." Veronica touched her cheek tenderly. "You came into my life when everyone else turned away. You carried me, fed me, and now, you've become part of me." Benson stood behind them, arms crossed, watching silently. Veronica turned her eyes toward her son. "Benson, have you found her?" He nodded slowly. "Clara was arrested early this morning at the bus terminal. She confessed everything. She was working for one of our competitors, paid to remove you so they could access my signature through the company board." Veronica closed her eyes. So much evil, just for money. Monica looked between them, her chest tight. "But thank God she's caught now. You're safe, Mama." Benson stepped closer. "Yes, and I couldn't have done it without you, Monica. You were the only light in the middle of this chaos." She blushed slightly, looking down. "I only did what my heart told me." "Alicia," he smiled faintly. "And that heart is rare. I've met people who spend millions trying to prove they're good. You spent everything you had to save a stranger." Veronica laughed softly. "That's why she deserves to shine." Benson turned to his assistant at the door. "Bring it in." The man entered, carrying a brown envelope. Benson handed it to Monica. "What's this, sir?" she asked, surprised. "Your start," he said simply. "Inside is your university tuition, allowance, and a key. The key is to an apartment close to campus. You'll never struggle again, Monica. From now on, you'll live the life you deserve." Monica's eyes filled with tears. "Sir, I can't." "You can," he interrupted softly, "because heroes don't always wear suits or uniforms. Sometimes they're just girls who stop in the rain." Veronica nodded with tears in her eyes. "You saved my life, Monica. Now let us help you live yours." Monica dropped to her knees, overcome with emotion. Thank you so much." Benson helped her up. "Go make your parents proud. You already made me believe in kindness again." 4 years later, the University of Lagos auditorium was filled with cheers. A young woman in a white coat stood at the podium, smiling through tears. Dr. Monica Andrew, the best graduating student. In the front row, Madame Veronica sat proudly in her wheelchair, clapping with trembling hands. Benson stood beside her, smiling. When Monica came down from the stage, she knelt beside Veronica, holding her hands. "You told me I'd carry people one day, Mama," she said softly. "You were right." Veronica's eyes shone. "And I told you God never forgets those who show kindness." Benson smiled, his voice full of pride. "You saved a life in the rain, Monica, and today you've saved your own." As the crowd applauded, Monica looked up toward the sky, whispering, "Thank you, God, for that rainy night." And in that moment, the girl who once carried a stranger in the storm stood tall, no longer the laborer covered in mud, but a doctor shining in white, proof that kindness truly comes home. If you like this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.